Well, hello again, friends. My name is Reverend Thomas Harper. I am one of the associate pastors at St. Luke's United Methodist Church. This is In It Together, our daily video devotional series, where each day we continue to make these videos to share our devotionals with you so that you can find a little bit of peace, a little bit of inspiration in the midst of all of this distance loving that we are continuing to practice. Today, I just wanted to share a story really with you about what's been going on in my life lately as it pertains, I think, to all of us. So I mentioned in one of these videos several weeks back that my wife works in the health industry. So she is still continuing to go into work every day. And so for most of the time, it is myself and my 5-year-old daughter and my 3-year-old daughter as I try to be a pastor, as well as a father, as well as a teacher, and as well as a just normal life stuff that we have to do every day. And that's been hard. That's been hard on us. We're snapping at each other more these days, but something happened the other day that I wanted to share with you. So I'm on the phone with a bride-to-be that I'm going to marry in a couple of months. And so we're talking details. And it is that moment that my 5-year-old decides that now it's time to come asking Daddy for something to eat or for Daddy to come play with her. And I got so frustrated because I was telling her, baby, I'm on the phone. You can't talk to me right now. I need to do this. Please go play and spend time with your sister. And she did this thing that she sometimes does, where she just decides it's full tantrum meltdown mode. So she gets about 5 feet away from me and just starts screaming and stomping and throwing things. And so it made me need to get off the call, get off the meeting with the bride. So I apologized to her and I said, hey, can we do this a little bit later? My daughter's really having an issue. And friends, when I got off of that phone call, I was so frustrated with my daughter. I yelled and I said, go to your room right now. And for the next about 10 minutes or so, I just could hear her screaming bloody murder throughout the house. Anywhere in the house, you could hear her from her room. After a while, parents tend to get tired of hearing that. And so I went in and I tried to calm her down. And I tried to talk her through, hey, baby, do you understand why this happened, why Daddy was upset? I had cooled down by this point, but she had not. She really was intent on controlling the situation. She wouldn't talk. I mean, if you have 5-year-olds or young kids, you know what this is like. She would just scream and be angry. Until finally I said, baby, I don't want you to be sad anymore. Why don't you let me hold you and we can talk about this? And still didn't want to do that. And so finally, after about 4 or 5 times of going in there and leaving and just letting her scream for a good 3 minutes, she reached out her arms to me, which is her sign of, I think I want to reconcile, Dad. So I picked her up, and she still wasn't talking, but she pointed to her window. I said, what do you want? You want to go to the window, or is there something outside of the window? And she said yes. And so I took her to the window. The first words that she had said for the last 30 minutes, yes, Daddy. And I took her to the window, and she pointed to the realtor sign that had just been posted there the day before. See, we're getting ready to move, and we're actually just about to put our house on the market. We'll have by the time you're watching this video. And I could see that all the anxiety and all the fears about the change that's coming up have been weighing heavily on her. And so this was a realization to Daddy that she's not acting out just because she wanted something while I was on the phone. She's acting out because this has been a difficult time for her and with all the change. And then so she sat on her windowsill, and I sat down on a stool next to her, and we just talked. We talked for a while, and she went into this whole, Daddy, I'm not the fastest swimmer in school. Daddy, I'm not the best at handwriting. and Daddy, it just makes me so sad because other people understand things better than I do, and I just my heart started to break as I could see all of this stuff that she had just had carrying around started coming out. And I said, baby, you may not be the best at everything, but you will be one of the best at something. I told her that God has something special for you to do in this world. And you don't need to compare yourself to everyone else. You can trust that God has something amazing for your life. And as we were talking, I realized that a lot of the things that I was saying to her, I needed to hear myself. Reverend Harper, you don't have to be the best at everything. You just need to be what God is calling you to be. Baby, I know this move and this change is kind of scary for you. Reverend Harper, I know this move and this change is kind of scary for you. And so I started to talk to her and say, Daddy's scared too. And when I started to lay out my fears and say, how she and I were similar, I realized how easy it is to be honest with my 5-year-old daughter. And so after a while I said, baby, do you want this to be our daddy-daughter talking spot? The place where we come and talk about when we're worried or we're afraid. And I could see a smile come over her face and her eyes light up. She said yes. And she made us go get a piece of paper and make a sign that says Daddy and Daughter's Talking Spot. We connected in that moment. I realized that our relationship as of late has just been me telling her what to not do, what to stop. But during that 15-minute conversation, she opened her heart to me, and I opened my heart to her in a way that was really beneficial for me as well. After we stopped our daddy-daughter talking spot, and I went back into the room to check on Alyssa to make sure she was still okay, Sophia asked me, said, Daddy, would you get me a snack? And I said, well, do you want macaroni and cheese? And she said, yes, sir. Now, if you know anything, or if you knew my family, you would know that my wife has been working on her for months and months to say yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. And so out of the blue, out of nowhere, she says, yes, sir. And so I was like, this is something special. This was a good daddy-daughter talk that we had. And I kid you not, the very next day, I am shaving in the bathroom, and my 5-year-old comes in and says, Daddy, where do babies come from? Not making it up. Like, that just happened yesterday. And I said, baby, let's go to daddy-daughter's talking spot, and let's talk about that. 1 John 4:12-13 says, no one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in union with us, and his love is made perfect within us. We are sure that we live in union with God and that he lives in union with us because he has given us his Spirit. I think when I am able to connect with my daughter in that way, God is showing both of us that he's there, he's with us. Allowing my 5-year-old to open her heart and allowing the 37-year-old to open his heart is a way that we can bring God into our relationship and remind us that it's okay to be scared. It's okay to have anxieties about the future. But I can tell that this is going to be something that I'm going to continue to do with my 5-year-old, is have our daddy-daughter spot. And when Alyssa gets a little bit older, we'll find a spot for her as well. And so that's just something I wanted to share with you, that when we really open ourselves up to each other, we are inviting the Spirit of God among us. And if you can't see God right now, look for God in your loved ones around you. All right, that's it for me today. Friends, I hope you are doing well. I hope you are loving each other well, and we will see you again soon.